Okay, people, Kurt had hinted around at this before, but now that I'm examining this, and I actually watched while my mom took a shower and I carefully examined this, is it possible that they put these shower doors together incorrectly? Is that possible? Because I'm going to ask you guys something. This is my common sense talking here, and I know Kurt, I'm going to ask him, I'm going to link this to his thing and ask him directly, alright? But I'm asking the whole world who watches my videos. Now, this is what I told you. I had already told her, okay, we can't have this inner door this way. It has a huge gap here, alright? So it has to be this outer door that goes on this side, alright? And then that's nice and tight, alright? That's nice and tight with the outer door on this side, okay? Now, and it's tight down here. I agree with that. This is what I don't understand, though. Water, see this crack here? It makes more sense to me. Water is shooting from that direction, and it's going through here. It can come straight through here, all right? That's just a given, all right? It can come through this crack here, and because it's coming straight through, and a lot of water builds up down here. I watched it while I was helping my mom take a shower. Okay, the water's still there, all right? Wouldn't it make more sense for these doors? To me, it makes way, way, way more sense, right? Than having water directly spraying that can come straight through this crack. That's right here. You guys can see that, right? You see in between there? You can see that this, I can put my glasses through, you see? So that's like that, and water's coming that direction. So water can definitely spray through there. That's a given, okay? Now, if the doors were like how I originally thought that they should be, okay, which is this way, where it's my natural inclination to step in this shower and close this inner door as opposed to reach around and close this door that has the handle on it, alright? It's your natural inclination to close the door nearest to you. And I tried to tell her that in the beginning. She's like, yeah, but you just have to reach around and do this one, alright? And as I showed you. Okay, but think about it, people. If it was this door we could close instead of this one, watch how my common sense is at work. You close this one, right? If you're able to close this one, which you can't do because it'll be a huge gap here, see? Do you see the gap right there? So we can't close that one. I did the other day because I was just in a daydream and I forgot. It's hard for me to remember to reach around and close that other door, okay? Now, this has that huge gap. We can't close this one, but think about it. If we could close that one, right? And then this was the one down here. We still have this gap. See the gap? We still have this gap. I'm going to show you. See how my glasses can go through it, right? You can't not have a gap because you have to slide them. They have to have a gap. They can't be tight, tight, tight against each other. So you see this gap. You see my glasses going through, heading towards the back wall, right? But water would be coming that way and not shooting through the crack because it can't travel in a circle. So wouldn't it make much more sense to have the gap be facing that way, and then your water is not going through any gap because it can't. Doesn't it make sense that if there's going to be a gap, it should be in the opposite direction where the water shoots out? Isn't that just common sense? To me, it's total fucking common sense. Alright? And then, as I said, if it was this one being closed, you're not going to have water being pooled up in there because the one you're closing is the one closest to you, right? And then the one way, way back here towards the back of the shower is the one that's furthest away from you, okay? And then you don't have water pulling out on the outside like I showed you either. It's pulling on the inside instead of on the outside. See? This makes no sense to me. And I try to tell her and she's just arguing with me before, but now that I really think about it, this makes no fucking sense. It makes more sense to have this be the door you can close. That way your inner door, your one closest to you, is the one you're closing, right? Right? So no water's going to pool up in there to a great degree, because this is the closest to you, and this is on the outside, all right? And you have this gap going in that direction instead of the direction of the shower water coming blah, 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 right? And then, like I said, when this is like this gap is right here, and that's the direction the water's coming. And tons of water pools up in this thing on the outside. You see this thing on the outside? Is it possible this was put together wrong, where it works, but it's not working how it would be better for everyone involved? Because this just doesn't make sense to me, you know? This just doesn't make sense to me. It makes more sense in the other way. Okay? The way it is now, we have that closed now, alright? Like I said, water is coming in the direction of this gap, that you have to have the gap, because the doors wouldn't move if they were tight together. I understand that, but it makes more sense to me if it was the opposite way, and then the gap is facing, there's no way water can come straight in the direction of the gap, because the gap's in the opposite direction, right? And then also, this would be down here, and water wouldn't be pooling up inside. There might be a little bit of water that goes on this side, but basically your shower is not going right there. It's going on your head and going up and going straight in a hill like this way. So it doesn't make sense to me that that opening is on that other side. It makes no sense to me whatsoever to have water pooling out here. But that's how we have to do it, because that's the only way it closes tight up there. Otherwise we have that huge gap. But this makes no sense to me. This is water coming straight through here and pooling all down there. You get it? And I don't think that's right, but I don't have anything to go by. And if it is wrong, how are the doors working then? Where it's, you know what I mean? How did they get it wrong? I remember back when Kurt was saying I think they put them on backwards. But I didn't really think about it, because they do go tight up top this way and that way. I'll give you that. But it makes no sense for this gap to be in the direction the water's coming through. Because water's coming straight through that gap. It didn't get on the floor, but, you know, it still makes no sense to me. It would make way more sense for that gap to be facing that other direction. And then there's no water that can come straight through. It would be blocked. It's just, I don't get this design, and I'm just wondering if there's any way that they did put them together incorrectly where they work, but they're not working as efficiently as they would be if it was different. Because the whole thing we're trying to avoid is we don't want any water to accidentally splash the floor, or you know what I mean? And I watched my mom take a shower, and I watched how much water was coming down there. Am I right or wrong about this? The only way I could tell is if I see somebody shower, and I also would have to, it would have to be just like mine with it coming from, with the faucet being on that right-hand side. Is it possible they fucked up putting in these doors? They did them incorrectly, backwards or whatever, so it still works, but it works with more chance of water coming out. Like I said, it would be way better to have it this other way where you close that inner door, and then the gap is on from coming from that direction where water's not shooting directly through it. Get it? I know Kurt will get it. Please help me understand this. It just makes more fucking sense to me. And then this thing is on the outside to collect the water, like it was back there, but it's not going to get a ton of water because it would be this inner door closed. So how would you get a ton of water? All right? The ton of water is happening from it having to be this other door closed, the outer, and this gap is here, like I said, and water shoots straight through. You get it? And if I did turn it at a different angle or something happened or whatnot, it'd be a hell of a lot easier to soak the place in accidentally. Or if I remove this, you know what I mean? Whereas it would be impossible from the other direction. Is it possible they did these doors wrong on top of all the other things that, like I said, the contractor makes light of it? We did such a good job on your bathroom, and we went above and beyond, so that I'm surprised you're getting so upset about these little trivial, easily fixed, you know, like the drain or the whatever, because they're all adding up to a big headache to me. That's why, you know. You make light of it because to you they're no big deal in regards to the big picture of everything you did, but to me they shouldn't be happening. And now I'm wondering if these doors were put together incorrectly. But like, how do I find out unless I can see a store display or unless you guys can tell me? All right, bye.